And welcome back. I have Kaboom Dragoon with me today.
Hello.
He has been saying hello quite a bit. He's very anxious.
Hello.
Exactly. So, your weather forecast for Denmark today is miserable, humid, wet, and miserable. And Kaboom Dragoon is so lucky to have good weather. I hate him.
Yeah, here in Scotland, it's, well, paradise, frankly. Beautiful blue skies, bright sunshine, naked frolicking women as far as the eye can see. Or, naked frolicking men. That's your thing. I'm not here to judge. That's for God to do.
And that has been your weather forecast for today. And, yep, spawn right next to him.
Well, at least you don't have to go track them down.
Well, I do have like auto tracking on this armor, so I can just see the map whenever. But it does make things inconvenient that I need to like get my food buffs and whatnot.
It's Kirin armor, isn't it?
Yeah, Kieran armor. Just
I
because
only know that from the ludicrous amounts of fan art that have been produced from it.
Yeah, it's really sad. And it's always because the female version is basically what, a bikini.
Yeah.
So
Bikini with a nice hat.
Yeah. So it's just, but it is a good armor set if you're using elemental weapons. And in which case I am actually doing, because Monkey burns very well.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's all the gases that come out of him.
Yeah, I can see how they're marking their territory quite frequently.
Mm. Yes, well, I just don't like fighting Kongalalas. They're kind of annoying to fight, but they're also easy at the same time. In general, I don't like fighting any of the monkey monsters. Like how dickish their movement sets are.
Yeah. Oh, remember I was talking about God Eater last time.
Yeah.
The monkey enemies in that are also really annoying as well.
What is
they,
these? No, you go. I'll wait till you're done.
I was just going to say they're sort of like these big baboon monsters, and you have to break about 4 or 5 different body parts off them, which takes friggin' forever.
So you have to break the parts before you can kill them, or is it just for if you ever want a chance to get any drops?
It's a bit of both, really. I mean, with some of them, it weakens their defenses because you're basically chipping their armor off. And with others, as the more body parts you break off, the better your chances of getting loot drops at the end.
I believe it's cores or something like that.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I haven't really played it since last year. But the enemies in that, I mean, with most of the enemies in God Eater, you really do have to break off body parts in order to stand a chance. I mean, from what I understand with Monster Hunter, breaking off body parts is advantageous, but not really necessary.
For the most part, it is advantageous. It depends. Like some parts, it's generally more for loot than anything. But like cutting off a tail is advantageous depending on the type of monster it is. Like some of them has such a small tail it wouldn't matter anyways. Like Bassaros, tiny tail doesn't really matter. Some monsters barely even tail whip, so cutting off a tail barely matters too.
With God Eater, it's one of those things you'll want to do it as a matter of course. Because like I said, for a lot of them, it weakens their defenses, so you get extra damage done to them.
Yeah, and in some cases it also weakens their defenses, but that's usually reserved for the really big monsters.
Yeah. No, I mean, God Eater has you fighting the big monsters a lot more quickly. Rather than, grinding on not quite raptors for several hours.
I don't know, I always found the raptor armor pretty... Drome armor is pretty pointless.
Yeah.
And again, with Monster Hunter, they usually reserve the really huge monster fights for like special events.
Yeah.
Which is a different way of doing it. And really, all the monsters they're just animals when you think about it.
And the ones in God Eater are...
They're monsters, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
They are literal monsters.
Abominations is probably the better word for it, because some of them later on get really friggin' messed up. I mean, one of the DLC monsters is basically a mishmash of about half a dozen of the regular ones you'll fight in the game. Topped off with the torso and face of a beautiful woman.
This is already starting to sound like some early Final Fantasy end boss stuff.
Yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. You know, stuff like if you faced the first form of Kefka in Final Fantasy VI, it's that kind of weirdness.
Basically, Yoshitaka Amano's art in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, it works really well, and it's the kind of thing that I wish more games did more often.
Yeah, I'm kind of missing, like, there was a period of games where you'd have, like, that kind of end boss fights, but nowadays it's usually just one singular boss with different forms, and I'm just, okay. But
yeah, I like it when you're looking at a monster and just trying to work out what in the hell it is to begin with.
Which part you want to chip off first, which is going to kill you the fastest.
Yeah. It's, you know, just looking at something and just trying to work out what it is, being your primary concern for the first 30 seconds of the fight.
Yeah.
You know, I love it when they do stuff like that.
I really miss that sort of, fight.
Yeah, it's kind of a lost art.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really seen any enemies in games that just make me stop and think, wait, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I totally understand that. I enjoy those sorts of boss fights. Like, they did it a little bit with Final Fantasy VII, I'd like to say, with the second boss form. Not the second, but the first boss form, if you know what I mean, because you had the multiple party battle thing with parts. But it wasn't all that what the hell you're fighting sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was an abomination, but not really.
Yeah.
But I think that has... No, you go.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say the closest I've come to seeing anything like that is the Wizardry series is scarily popular in Japan to the point where it's spawned a whole load of spin-offs completely unrelated to the original.
Yeah, I heard about that.
There's sort of a trilogy of games loosely connected called Generation X. I think it's X, TH. It might be 10, I don't know. But the enemies in that are the kind of stuff that makes the Shin Megami Tensei series look tame. You know, these are like serious nightmarish monsters.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been desperately trying to find some kind of guide for it or anything just so I can play it, but it's so ludicrously obscure that there isn't really much information for it in English, which is a real shame. Because looking at videos of it on YouTube and screenshots, it looks friggin' awesome.
There's no actual translation patch that fans usually do.
No, I've been looking for those. Like I said, it's hard finding information on it in English, let alone anyone who's even thinking about doing a translation patch for it.
That's a real shame, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's one group that I think would be interested in it. They were the guys who did the fan translation for Persona 2, Innocent Sin. For that, we got an official release.
Yeah.
I've been hanging around on their site on and off, and a couple of the guys there seemed interested in it. But, it's a big difference between, that looks cool, and, we're going to work on this ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. There's a huge difference. I've actually been wanting to get into the Wizardry series myself, because I've looked at it, I'm like, that seems like fun. But I've never really, then I forget about it, and then I don't really know where to stop. I would really like to get into the Wizardry series. It's just more a matter of one of those things, like, it'll probably take me a million years, but I'll eventually get to it.
Yeah. I mean, the Wizardry series itself is ludicrously difficult to begin with.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
ridiculous difficulties.
Yeah. There's been a couple of good LPs of it, but I think most of the SNES ports of the game have been translated, and they're, unless you're going for the pure Wizardry experience, which requires setting up like arcane Mac emulators.
Ooh.
Yeah, then probably the SNES versions would be the easiest to go for. And guaranteed there's someone sitting there, someone sitting there listening to me say that and saying, that's not right, man, that's not right. Heretic, burn him!
Oh, yeah. But, you gotta take whatever's available to you.
Yeah, I mean, personally, when it comes to something like that, I would rather go for what's easily available rather than for the purest version available.
Yeah, I would probably first time around go for whatever's available, and then if I'm really into it, I might go for the purest stuff. Just
to see how it compares.
Yeah. Like with the Might and Magic series, you got God, they made like lots of port versions of it, like the NES, the PC, the Sega versions of all the early ones.
Yeah, I think they only did up to the third one, and then it kind of stopped getting ported to anything. I might be wrong, but
I think they stopped porting like around. Yeah, I think they did stop porting around the third game, because 4 and 5 is like they're actual sequels to each other, and I died. Yeah, shame.
Yep.
But yeah, 4 and 5 are actually sequels to each other, and I think that was only done to PC.
Yeah.
I actually really like the early games, just story-wise. Where they lost me with the Might and Magic series is when they made Heroes of Might and Magic, and then they're like, oh, this Erathia world is so popular with our strategy game. Well, let's make our Might and Magic series about this world, instead of it being about multiple worlds and sort of high fantasy. In the sense that there's robots and technology and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. I always meant to get into the Hero series, but, again, it's one of those things I just never really quite got around to.
I like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, 1 and 2 not so much, because 1 and 2 were... It could be I'm just playing the games wrong, but they're unbalanced as hell in the sense that... Yeah, you've done a couple missions, now we're gonna make the missions impossible for you.
Yeah.
And barely give you any units.
It's the 5th one that's the most popular, isn't it?
I stopped playing Might and Magic after, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I'm just picking up from what other people have said, but I think it's the 5th one. It just seems to be the really big, really popular one.
Well, I guess because Ubisoft made it more mainstream, I want to say.
Yeah, I just remember seeing ads for it around about the time XCOM Apocalypse came out. That's really all I know about it. Just, oh yeah, lots of ads for it. This looks interesting. I don't know why that's so clear in my mind, but
the only thing I remember seeing of it is like
Hope. Sorry.
Yep. Account item. I was hoping for something better though, but you get what you pick up. In this case, dung.
Big ol' nugget of poop.
Well, at least it wasn't a dong.
Not even going there.
Ding dong dung.
Anyway, you were saying.
What I was saying is when I saw the Might and Magic 5, I think it was just off of their website. I had offhand heard that Ubisoft had gotten the rights to make Might and Magic games, and they were making something. And I was like going, oh, that might be interesting. And then I checked it out, and I was like, oh, okay. They're making a real-time strategy. You lost me there, buddy. Because I like my turn-based strategies.
Yeah, I've always been more of a fan of turn-based.
Real-time is fine. It just depends on the game for me. Westwood did some good real-time strategy.
It's heresy, but I was never really much of a fan of the Command & Conquer games up until Red Alert. and then it's just started getting crazy and out
But
there.
that's actually where the Command and Conquer games did get really popular around Red Alert.
Yeah, I just really, especially with Red Alert 3, where they just gave up all pretenses of making sense and being serious.
I did not like
J.K.
EA
Simmons
Red
as
Alerts.
president.
I really didn't like the EA Red Alerts or Command and Conquers. But that's just a personal taste. I like the games that Westwood did. Westwood did a lot of games. It's a shame they went under.
Did they do Generals, or was that EA?
I don't know. I do know that they had the Eye of the Beholder series and all the sort of dungeon crawl games, and I really loved those, for example. And they also had like Theme Hospital. They had a lot of really good games.
No, I mean CNC Generals.
Again, I don't know because I didn't really play too much of the Command and Conquer series. I played 1 and 2 and Red Alert, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's because I had a friend who's completely obsessed with the CNC series, and he was determined to get everyone playing Command and Conquer Generals, to the point where he was buying copies of the game for other people.
Yeah, I actually know a few people like that. One of my friends who's always trying to get me to play his janky strategy games, like Europa Universalis. I can't say it in English.
Europa Universe.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
yeah, and he's trying to give me these, and he's always trying to buy me these games like the Guild 2 and so forth. And then he stops playing them a week later.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't really talk much about the video. Probably should have. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed the commentary. We'll see you next time.